Hey everybody, Jane Hamill from Fashion Brain Academy. How are you? Today we're talking about selling to retailers and getting your product into more stores. And I want to go through a checklist with you of what you need to have in place before you even start approaching boutiques. Ask me how I know. I owned a boutique for over 14 years, and I also designed a women's clothing line that I sold to boutiques and to stores like Saks. I sold to Bloomingdale's, Macy's, and my own store, of course. And I was on both sides, right? So I understand what a retailer is thinking. And I know that it is completely opposite from what the designer or the creator or the vendor is thinking. We just have two different points of view and two different goals. So before you start pitching retailers, I want you to know what you need to have ready, because you don't want to waste your time or their time, trying to get appointments and hustling if you're not really ready to show your collection and your products. Give it your best shot. Okay. So whether you've been in business a long time or not, it doesn't really matter. I want you to know what they want you to have and what I think you need to have before you approach them. All right, here we go. And this checklist, by the way, you'll be able to download this as a PDF. Look on this page somewhere. If you're listening or watching this on anywhere other than my blog, I'm sure there's a link in there, or you can just go to the blog and in the search box, Google up checklist boutiques or checklist retailers. That should work. Okay. All right. So let's go over it. The first thing is you need a website that looks professional. A lot of people, they get excited, their product is ready or almost ready, their site's not quite ready, and they start pitching boutiques. I'd say usually this is a bad idea, because what happens is the first thing a store owner does, or a buyer, is when they get something from you in the mail, email, call, whatever, they see you, they hear about you, they Google you up. They look at your site. If you don't have a site, it makes them think you're not in business, you're not professional. They wonder what's wrong. So I usually suggest 99% of the time, there are always edge cases, but get your site up, at least a landing page. If you're a startup, at least a landing page or a blog, some kind of web presence. Okay, simple site, professional looking, nothing too crazy. Next, you're going to need your sample line, a finished sample line with product numbers, style numbers, ticketed, understanding your deliveries, that type of thing. So obviously you need your products, right? And you need to have costed and priced those products accurately. And this, I really encourage you to not gloss over this and think you know how much you're supposed to charge, because a lot of people use a cost sheet that's not right. That's not geared for smaller companies. There's the story of the woman I knew who, she started a business and she sold like over $250,000 her first season, but she was using a cost sheet and pricing sheet from a big manufacturer where she used to work. So her margins were super slim. Her volume was nowhere near what they had, and she didn't make any money. So use a good cost sheet. If you don't have one, I have a course on that. It's called Costing and Pricing Your Line. Get it, or get somebody's, okay? Understand costing and pricing for a small company. The next thing you want to do is you want to know where you're going to get this stuff made. So showing the line and getting excited to get orders is awesome. But if you don't have your production in place already, or you're very close to having it in place and know how you'll actually produce these items, you're wasting your time. You're getting orders you can't fill. Okay, next up, you need a photo shoot before you can approach them. So excuse me, guys. So if if you're going to be sending in your line sheets, and we'll get to that in a second, I really suggest professional photos. It really does make a difference. Almost all the time, if you have clothing, it sells better if they're on a body. That doesn't always apply for everything, but usually people want to see it on a model. Sometimes if it's accessory product or, candles, soaps, jewelry, you can shoot that yourself if you have a light box and a good camera, good lighting, that's fine. But a lot of times it's also really important to see on the model so they get the scale. A lot of times you see bags and it'll say it's 12 by 9 inches by whatever. Nobody can really picture that. I don't even know what that is. And I've been in this business for hundreds of years. So good photos. All right, next up is a lookbook or a simple photo packet. So you're going to have your line sheet. We'll talk about that in a second. But then a photo packet or a couple photos, not a ton, stylized. So how you would wear it, with a background, like a woman on a Harley with a this, with a that, her hair flowing in the wind, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But these are, this is showing the product how you think it should be worn. Okay, only a few of those. You don't need that much because buyers buy off of the line sheets. So the next thing is the line sheet that you need. And your line sheets should be organized by delivery date. It's a lot that goes into a line sheet to make it good, but most important things you want to know is what are the deliveries, terms, minimums, and do I have good quality photos so people can actually see the product? All right, an order form customized for your brand. It's very simple. It just means if I'm Jane Hamill Company, like I was Jane Hamill Label, I would have a purchase order form that says Jane Hamill, and it has, lines on there for sizes and the price and color and quantity and all of that stuff. Lots of times stores have their own purchase order. Bigger companies do everything, via the interwebs anyway, but plenty of stores still take your order form, fill it out, and even fax it in, believe it or not, right? I know. Then the next thing you're going to want, clear terms, deliveries, and minimum orders. So just know if you have a minimum order, put it on there. If you don't, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of minimum orders. When I had my retail store, I would like to test things out sometimes. I'd say, hey, yeah, that's a great mug or whatever. I'd like to try 5 of them, and that's that. And then if they work, I'll go right back in and make a bigger order. So if you have a minimum order, that's fine if you need to for your production, but don't feel you need to just so you look like in business or like a big company. You don't have to. You can just say, hey, no minimum, try it out, or try 5 pieces or try 20 pieces, whatever your product is. Okay. The next thing is you need a way to accept payments, and that's going to be a way to accept payments that's not PayPal. All right. Business to business is usually they don't use PayPal. And sometimes I hear new designers saying, oh, I'll just use PayPal, and that's not going to really roll. If you're selling to boutiques, I really think credit card is the way to go. Next is a strategy for marketing your product. You can't just have a great product. It's not enough. I know you probably have a great product already, but do you have the sales you want? No, not always if you're not actively marketing. That goes for if you're selling direct to consumer or wholesale. You still want to drive consumer demand. And the next thing is a good list of boutiques that are fit for your product. So that takes time to build. Yes, you can buy boutique or store lists. Sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not, but still they're a list. And you're going to need to cherry pick your list and do your research on which stores are actually a good fit for your product rather than which stores you just think are awesome. Okay. And that's a big difference. Like, oh, I'd love to be in, Jeffrey or whatever, but truthfully, that customer isn't really going to dig my product, or the price point is not there, or whatever it is. Next thing you're going to need is a step-by-step plan to approach and follow up with boutiques. Too many entrepreneurs feel that they can just email the line sheet and email it again and email it again and get an order, right? It's not that easy. So there's a whole four-prong approach that I go through on how to get an appointment and eventually get an order. And I encourage you to just get your head around the fact that you can't really just sit behind your computer and have orders come in if you're selling wholesale. Okay, that totally happens direct to consumer. Next up is an understanding that you can't just send a few emails to buyers and get sales. All right, so that's the same thing I just said. It is going to take different ways of approaching buyers to actually get an order besides just emailing them. And then the next thing you'll need is the confidence to pick up that phone, call a buyer, and know what to say to grab their attention. Eventually, you got to talk to them, pretty much. I know we love to just do everything digitally, and we love to text, and I hate listening to my voicemail messages. Just thank you. Frankly, I hardly ever do it. We've just gotten away from using the phone, but when it comes to selling wholesale, it is still absolutely important. It's tough to do when you don't have a relationship with the buyer in the beginning because they don't really want to get on the phone with you. But once if you can get in and once you're getting to know them, it is kind of the fastest way to just get things done. Okay? Every buyer works differently, but don't think that you can't call or you shouldn't call because that is an important part of that force-pronged approach to getting an order. Okay, I hope that helps. Go back and download the PDF so you'll have that checklist. Be honest with yourself. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Are you close to ready? Which pieces are you missing before you're approaching retail buyers? All right. Thanks for joining me, guys. I will catch you soon. I have a question for you. Could you leave me a comment letting me know what is the next thing you want to know about getting into retail stores? All right. What's the next question you have? Leave me your questions. Jane, could you talk about this? Jane, I tried this and it worked. It didn't work. Can you help? Well, give me your questions. All right. What do you want me to teach next when it comes to getting into stores? And if you have comments on this, good or bad, thumbs up, thumbs down, I don't really care. I just like hearing from you. So leave me a comment. Have a great day, guys. Bye. We out.